Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, please subscribe. So in today's video, as you guys can tell by the title, I'm going to be sharing my autism story. Some of you may know that I have high-functioning autism, and this video is a collab with my best friend, Allie Lee. She is also going to be doing an autism story. I'll have her links down below. Make sure you subscribe and give her lots of love because she is my best friend in the entire world and I deeply care about her. Also, today is April 2nd and Happy Autism Awareness Day. If you have autism or if you know someone who is on the autism spectrum, I hope this video was super helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Really mean a lot to me. Give this video so many likes, and let's reach up to 2,100 subscribers. And without further ado, let's get started. So before I get into my autism story, I'm going to explain to you what autism is. Autism is a developmental disorder or neurological, and it is characterized by difficulties with social interaction and communication, and by restricted and repetitive behavior. It is unknown what causes autism, but most boys are diagnosed with autism than girls. Autism can be lifelong, and there is currently no cure, but therapy, speech therapists, and medications can help. So for my race and ethnicity, I am a Hispanic Latina, and now I'm going to share my autism story. I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism when I was 4.5 years old, before my baby sister Bella was born. My parents took me to UCLA for tests because I was delayed in my speech. I didn't have good eye contact and I wasn't interacting with other children. I also had therapists come over to my house and help me. From preschool, kindergarten, and elementary school, I had staff members and aides who would help me with my schoolwork, how to talk for me and how to talk to me. And I still keep in contact with this sweet, caring, kind, understanding woman, and she makes me feel so happy and safe. And her name is Miss Lisa. And Miss Lisa, if you're watching this, I love you so much, and thank you for always being there for me and making me so happy. I didn't know how to talk or pay attention in class, and plus I was in my own world. In elementary school, I didn't know how to interact with other students, and I always played by myself at recess, or I didn't play with any children, and I just sit quietly, like draw or read. And as I grew older, I started showing some self-harming actions like hitting myself, punching myself in the face, banging my head into objects, and biting myself. And I was prone to meltdowns and shutdowns. And as I grew older, I decreased my number of meltdowns and shutdowns because whenever I have a meltdown, I tend to cry, scream, say stuff that I don't mean, like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to die, or why is everything so hard? And then after my meltdown, my face gets red, my eyes gets puffy because of crying, and I get a headache, and I feel so exhausted and guilty. And I have super sensitive ears. Certain loud noise bugs me, like dogs barking, loud noises from crowds, sirens from ambulances and cop cars, and plus certain subjects can overwhelm me. Like when I go to school, there can be certain topics, or if I don't understand a certain lesson or what a professor is talking about, I tend to get lost and overwhelmed. And when I'm overwhelmed, I take a break outside, I walk out of my classroom, and I catch my breath. In one of my college classes, there was a subject about a thesis, and I was so overwhelmed. I started crying at the end of the class, and there was these 3 girls who comforted me and made me feel better, and I was like, thank you guys so much. And I can also have a sensory overload, or when things are too much for me, I overstimulate, so I tend to get overwhelmed when things are just too much for me. Like in Sesame Street, when Julia was overwhelmed by the siren, she took a break, and then she came back to play with her friends Elmo, Big Bird, and Abby. Plus, I'm a picky eater, and I also had a hard time interacting and making friends, and I always isolated myself. I was bullied a lot in middle school, and I didn't know how to socialize, make friends, or start conversations. Miss Lisa was about to help me throughout middle school, but she was assigned to another school, and I was very heartbroken. And I'll be like, Miss Lisa, I really want you to help me. But But with the other staff members, and without the staff members in my school years later, I tend to grow more independent and confident. But the 2 staff members I was given to instead of Miss Lisa, one was an old lady, and the other one was a Spanish woman whose voice really annoyed me. So when I was upset and I was feeling sad, the old lady was like, "Bianca, please don't cry," or "Bianca, don't cry." And I was like, please don't be mean to me. And then she said, "I could be mean to you if I want," and which kind of made me feel sad. And then when I was drawing and writing in my journal alone in a classroom, these teachers forced me to go out and interact, and they were like, "Bianca, you need to interact." And I was like, "No, I don't feel like it." And then they forced me, and then when I was walking, the staff members were holding my hands, and plus I was looking at the ground and I was feeling awkward. And then I used to blurt out random things around the campus to sound cool, but in the end I ended up getting laughed at and getting weird looks from other people. And when I was in gym class, I didn't catch up or didn't exercise with the students because I always isolated myself, and I used to yell when I'm super upset. And then when I was getting dressed and walking out of the gymnasium to go for a run, these 3 boys were like, "Oh hey, are you gonna yell and sing a song for us?" And I didn't say anything because I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and plus I was quiet. And there are these 3 girls who forced me to interrupt classes on purpose until I had the courage, told the teacher on them, and they apologized later. I went to 2 different middle schools because I was held back. The first one was near my house, and then the second one was my mom's school, so my mom wanted me to be near her. So in my second middle school, it was super hard for me. One time in math class, I was writing down my math homework, and I felt something behind my back. These 2 boys were throwing pencils, crumpled up papers, and gum wrappers, and I looked around and they were doing nothing. One of them was looking outside the window, and I think one of them was like doing their homework. And then I raised my hand and I was like, "Excuse me, I think those 2 boys are throwing stuff at me." And then the teacher was like, "No, they're not, go back to work." And then I sat down on my desk and they continued throwing stuff at me behind my back. When I was hanging out with the kids, I didn't know how to talk, and I isolated myself again, and they used to force me to sing songs even though I don't want to. And then when I was hanging out with these guys, I had a crush. My middle school crush appeared out of nowhere, and he took a picture of me hanging out with a guy and he posted it on Instagram. And then weeks later, another guy did it, but I think their post got deleted. At my middle school, there were 2 teachers who were nice to me. My writing teacher was super nice, and she really liked all my writing essays, and I was a really good creative writer. And then whenever I was overwhelmed, I go downstairs, and there's these 2 older women who teaches the younger grades, and whenever I'm overwhelmed, I go out of my classes or at recess and I talk to them, and they make me feel so happy. And of course I was loud and I blurted out stuff, and one time when I yelped something, or I gasped in front of the class, the teacher was like, "That's it, go stand in the hallway." And then all the kids snickered when I walked out of the classroom. So middle school was really tough for me, and I was like, I don't know if I'm never going to make friends or something. A few years later, I enrolled in a school for autistic people, and I felt so welcomed and safe there that not everyone was so nice to me, especially the staff members. In life, I always wanted one good friend, and that's where I met Allie. She is my BFF, and I love her so much. She's kind, supporting, caring, silly, and sweet, and I'm very grateful that I met her. I deeply care about her. She's so much fun to be around, and we've been best friends forever. We met in about 2013 or 2014 when I was sitting in the auditorium. She was looking at the J14M and Tiger Beat magazines, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, is that a Ross Lynch poster? Can we trade?" So we started trading posters, then we started texting, then we started hanging out at their houses, and now we have weekly or monthly sleepovers, which is so much fun. In the end, my autism does not define me, and I'm proud of it. I used to think of my autism as a curse, but now I think of it as a superpower and a gift. Autistic people are extremely diverse, and I take these classes at my community college for autistic people and other people with disabilities, and they're called Cognitively Diverse, and the classes are like so much fun. I just want to let you know that autistic people are human beings like us with emotions and rights. Well, that is it for my autism story. I hope you guys like this and you know a little bit more about me if you guys didn't know I have autism. And I just hope this video was super helpful to those who are on the spectrum or others who know someone who is on the spectrum. And please be respectful in the comments, because if I see any mean comments, I will remove them. The end. Well, that is it for my autism story. Don't forget to like, comment down below, and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Make sure to check out Allie's video. I'll have her links down below in the comments and in the description. Give her lots of love. And by the way, see ya!